Hey, I'm Craig.
And I'm Regina.
And this is Homegrown, a series about our journey as we turn a house into a self-sustaining home.
We are going to be growing our own food, capturing water, and to generate some of its own energy.
To be sustainable as we can be in suburbia. So let's get homegrown. G'day and welcome back to another episode of Homegrown. I'm Craig and today's episode is a bit different, a bit exciting. We're going to take a little step back from actually doing stuff and we're going to go check out how the garden's growing. So I want to give you an update, show you how the garden's going since we've been doing all this work and now things are starting to sprout. So we'll take you on a bit of a tour, show you what's growing and give you an update of the garden. When we first moved in, didn't realise, but the whole backyard was riddled with these little thorns. So there's actually double G's. Not loving it at all. It's not a fit backyard, let's just say that. A little while back, we made some garden bed circles. And planted a whole bunch of stuff. And now we're in the middle of summer and things are starting to sprout. We got like sage, thyme, oregano, mint. We've got a nice bay leaf there. We've got some basil growing, kale, dill, some marigold, watermelon radish, perennial onions. We've got some Jerusalem artichokes coming, zucchinis, cucumbers, pumpkins exploding out, beans, rosemary, got an ice cream bean tree, broad beans is popping up. This is a native, it's called a saltbush, and that is a native finger lime, the caviar of the bush. This is a native apple. Got some blueberries, different varieties, some bananas, eggplants, and a whole bunch of chilies, jalapenos, and sugar snap peas. So everything's exploding out of here. So here, got our row of apple trees come along. So we've got a Granny Smith, we've got a red Jonathan, and a Gala. And they've been blossoming, basically means there's flowers. And flowers turn into fruit. magic. And now there is like nice little fruits on there. Check it out. Now, there was a lot more fruit on here, but unfortunately the local 28 got to it. So means we'll just down some apples. I mean, it's as bad as it might seem. Parrots, basically nature's shears, pruners, taking off the tops. So, you know, they have their purpose. But what that means is this tree next year is going to blossom even more, going to get even more fruit. And once we get more fruit, you know, we'll be left with a bit more. But yeah, these apples are doing great. And underneath it, what this is sweet potato. Now this is one of my favorite plants, and it really just goes nuts in summer in the heat. And the reason why I love it, because there's so many different purposes. So for one, it's obviously going to make sweet potatoes. Delicious, right? Two, you can actually eat the leaves raw, or you can cook them, doesn't matter, however you want. And they're actually a really good source of vitamins and minerals for you. Probably more so than lettuce, actually. Look it up. I didn't, but I'm pretty sure. And yeah, it doesn't really have a strong taste. It's pretty bland actually, but that's why it's so great. You can just mix it in with anything and it doesn't really change the flavors. So that's my favorite. That's my summer lettuce. Because basically lettuce doesn't really grow here in the summer unless, you know, you're putting up shade cloths, creating like less hot microclimate. But why put in all the work when you can make something thrive? So that's bloody brilliant. Great plant. All right, let me show you something else we've been growing. So this is our first garden circle, which we planted a month or two ago. And you know, we're just starting to get into that peak of summer. So we had like 4 days consecutively above 38 degrees Celsius. Not good, not for me and not for the plants. Now what we've got here is my avo. So this one's growing from seed. It's about 5 years old now. This was actually really exciting. Just as we moved, it actually put out flowers, its first flowers. It has had a bit of a struggle. We've had galing sea breezes. We've had heat waves. And unfortunately, it did drop its flowers. So I thought about some other ways maybe I can keep the garden watered through these real crazy heat spells. And I'll show you this. This is a little trick. So this little guy here is what we call an Oya. And basically what I've got there is 2 ceramic pots, glued them together, filled up one hole at the bottom, left one at the top, and basically just fill it with water. And because ceramic is actually porous, it'll bleed out the water really slowly, and also it'll stop once the soil gets wet enough. Osmosis is basically the science behind that one. The only downside is you just have to make sure they're filled up. So at the moment I'm doing that, you know, once a day, just to keep the ground nice and moist. It's been working pretty good so far. So next year is the year for her. And you know, a lot of people say you can't grow avocados on the coast. We're going to prove them wrong. That's what we're going to do. All right, let me show you the mango. Here's our mango. Beautiful. Look how many little fruits that we got coming up there. So they're only little, tiny little mangoes at the moment, but we've got at least, I would say at least 15 popping out at the moment. I mean, this thing was just covered in flowers, absolutely nuts. And now we're finally getting these tiny little fruits coming in. So I'm really hoping it hangs on to these, and by March we will have mangoes. So I'm so excited by that. It's not every day you get to grow your own mangoes. And when you do, I mean, there's something inside you, just, it's probably, I mean, I don't have any children, but it's probably equivalent of having babies. Not as, you know, amazing because you didn't make it with your body, but the love is there and it is quite magical. Wow. All right, let me show you some other stuff we got going. Here's our delicious tomatoes. So they're just getting ripe now, and there's loads of little cherries on there. And we've got a few big ones as well coming in. So these guys are deliciously sweet. Oh, you can't get better than a backyard tomato. They're just so much sweeter, hey pickle, than a store-bought. So I'm just going to pick the red ones, because the longer they stay on the plant, the sweeter they are. But you don't want to leave them too long, otherwise everything else eats them. Because that's one of the permaculture principles: obtain a yield. So you could create a food forest full of fruits and nuts, but if you're not harvesting it, basically you're producing waste again. The principles basically are patterns from nature. And there's ethics as well, which are care of earth, care of people, and fair share. And they're like the foundations of sustainable living, and also it's part of Indigenous culture.
The earth is Mother Earth's house, and if you're in a house, you know, respect it. And respecting it is giving back, you know, making sure that future generations can enjoy the same foods that we ate.
And also giving back to the things around you. So, you know, birds coming at your fruit, that's okay, that's part of it. But today we're obtaining a yield. All right, tomatoes done. To the next thing. Now, some of you are probably wondering, how did the horny goat weed go? how's it progressed? So we did this method of actually trying to build the soil back up using the microbes in the soil to mimic how nature does things and build succession. So I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but I hope the little microbes and nature's going to give us a hand. As you can see, just around here, these are actually the seeds that are sprouting. I've seen a few little patches here and there, but it's basically only popping up where we haven't actually tried to fix the soil. Along this drain pipe, I didn't put any manure down because I thought I'm not going to grow there, So, considering there's still seeds throughout the whole garden, only picking out, 2 or 3, I'm actually really happy with that. The one thing I didn't plan on is the amount of grass that was actually come back. So the future plan really is just to keep building and adding to the soil, and eventually I think it shouldn't be growing anymore. I'm really happy to and relieved to see it's worked. So no, that's been a really cool thing that's actually happened out of the garden. All right, we'll pick these out and make sure they don't grow, and then I'll show you some other bits of the garden. Now you're probably wondering, hey Craig, what happened to that orange tree you rescued? Good point. That's a great question. Let me show you. So here, it's the old orange tree. Only a few months ago, this was a stick. I wasn't sure if it was gonna reshoot, but now look at her. She's coming back to life. That's amazing. And then we've got more pumpkins just surrounding everything. I mean, why not? They're an amazing ground cover. They come up real fast, spread like wildfire, and then produce pumpkins. And you can store them like 9 months. So I love my pumpkins. One of the greatest summer veggies you could probably grow. And let me show you this. This gorgeous little sucker is called a peanut tree. It's a red fruited caranjong, and beautiful, strange tree actually. Very strange, beautiful tree. Check this out. Check out the fruit. It's like 2 little testicles. And apparently they go nice and red when they're ready. And inside there's these seeds that taste apparently like peanuts. And that is amazing. I mean, normally, right, peanuts grow under the ground. Once you pick them, you gotta replant, resow. This, because it's a tree, you plant it once, harvest it for the rest of its life. So, everlasting peanuts. Yeah, that's gonna be an amazing tree. So here's the vineyard. It hasn't changed a lot since we planted them. It's only been 2 weeks since we transplanted them. But you're getting a little bit of new growth coming through, despite these 40-degree days. So that's a good sign. But to get them established, rather than setting up reticulation again, check out this. This is another oil I was telling you guys about. So yeah, it just sits in between the two vines, leaches out all the water, and it's because it's uphill, slightly uphill, it leaches down slowly into the actual roots of the grapes. And up top here, another native, it's called pig face, and that actually puts out these delicious little fruits in summertime. It's like a salty fig, delicious. And you can even eat the leaves and add that to your salad. And if you get a bit of sunburn, you can use the gel from the leaves as a bit of a soothe. So multiple purposes. It's going to basically cover the ground here, and that's going to stop all the grass and stuff growing, but also it's going to keep a lot of moisture in the soil, and the grapes will be really happy about that. So it's like a living mulch, basically. That's going to keep everything nice and hydrated. So there you go, that's the vineyard. And finally, something I really want to show you is the diversity that's come into the garden. So check this out. So here we've got coriander, or if you're in America, cilantro, whatever you fancy. So what's happening here is quite awesome. So let me tell you a little story. When we first moved in, there was hardly any diversity. And we know when we bring all the plants in, especially the fruit trees, really got attacked by aphids and snails and all these sorts of things. But now, since we've planted all these different species of plants, the amount of species that are starting to show up is quite extraordinary. So just here, we've got the coriander, and it's just riddled with these ladybugs. And ladybugs basically go around and just eat thousands and thousands of aphids every day. And since then, I haven't had any problems with aphids or even the cabbage moth. It's because that cabbage moth, his predator, is a wasp. They go around, chop their heads off and feed them to the young. It's quite romantic. So with each imbalance, there's always a counterbalance in nature. What that shows me is how valuable diversity is. You know, as we face these bigger concepts, climate change, even the pandemic itself, you know, is an imbalance in nature. And diversity is what builds strength. So that is how nature solves it. We could learn a lot from that. Anyway, keep it up, guys. You're doing a great job. there we go. It's the garden. That's an update on where we're at. And yeah, it's looking good. Looking green. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell and the like. That all helps make some more episodes and show you guys what's going to be happening next. So wherever you are in the world, thanks for watching. See you on the next ep. Have a good one, guys.